Hello and good afternoon. Well, it's afternoon on the East Coast. If you are watching, my name is Frank Lavinia, and I am streaming live while I get my car washed. And it looks like they're almost done, so I may be cutting this live stream short. So, a couple things. I was talking with a former colleague from Microsoft this week, and he was describing what happened when he went to his doctor. He's also a data architect at one of the MTCs, and he recounted a story that he went to his doctor, and as a data engineer extraordinaire that he is, um, basically kind of went through and discussed, shared all the data that he had collected on himself, regarding his, I guess, blood sugar, a couple other metrics too. And the doctor just looked at him kind of with a sideways look and said, "Well, I guess we're going to figure out what we capture all this data on. We're going to figure out." I'm paraphrasing, but basically it was kind of like the doctor looked at him and she said, "I guess we're going to have to figure out how to ingest it, or not ingest. That's the term we would use. I guess we're going to have to figure out." The third time out, I'm going to get this right. "I guess we're going to have to figure out to do with all this data that we're collecting." And I think that that pretty much underscores the state of medical data science these days. If you look, I have a Fitbit. I occasionally will wear a continuous glucose monitor, which gives me an update on my blood sugar readings I think it's every 5 minutes. And it jives with my own experience when I presented the doctor with my blood sugar ratings, my resting heart rate, and a couple other metrics that I collected, and I correlated them along with the intermittent fasting kind of routine that I'm in. And my doctor also kind of looked at me and just looked at me like like I had just said, "I come from Pluto and I'm here to save your planet." I got this really bizarre look of just, I don't know what to do. And it's just funny because I don't think medical professionals are used to civilians, so to speak, coming in with mass quantities of health-related data. And I think that while I know I'm an edge case, and I know others who also function as data scientists, data engineers are also edge cases, the rise of devices like the Fitbit and Apple Watch and all these other things that are upon us are going to make it so that there's going to be more and more data gathered. And I think just my own personal experience in terms of tracking my blood sugar, and tracking my intermittent fasting, and kind of correlating the two along with resting heart rate. Um, I think that I think that a couple of interesting things are going to happen. I think that one, if you capture enough data, everything kind of collapses into a data science problem or a predictive problem. I know I may eat those words at some point in the future, but maybe not everything, but a lot of problems which we now consider that, um, are going to collapse into that. And I see I have a chat. Hey, John. Hey, Jean Joseph. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're doing all right. If Let me know in the comments if you've experienced this too. If you're, more than a general public, my audience will be data scientists, data engineers, data people. Um, I'm curious. Have you kind of what has been your experience when you presented your own personal health data that you gathered kind of independently of your doctor? Um, my new doctor is actually the one who prescribed me the um, awesome. Thanks for joining. I really appreciate it. You're awesome, man. Hope you're having a great day. Yeah, so my new doctor, his practice is basically entirely remote, even before the pandemic, and he's the one who issued me the CGM. And I don't have an Apple Watch, so he only currently works with Apple Watch, so I can't quite get everything into the system. But I think the future of medicine and the future of data are going to merge. I think you're going to see health tech going to become health being emerged as a very data centric field. If you look at just my own personal observations, again, I'm not a doctor. When I had the CGM, I was able to get a reading of my blood sugar every 5 minutes, which gave me a far better resolution in terms of getting a picture of what my diabetic risks are. I'm not diabetic. I've actually avoided it. And I was able to make smarter diet decisions based on what the CGM was telling me. Continuous glucose monitor. Basically, it's a little thing that goes in your arm, and you replace it every couple of weeks, and it tells you what your blood sugar is almost moment to moment. The resolution is every 5 minutes, and I'm always looking over there because I think my car is going to be ready. But ultimately, I think it's an interesting use case because most of the time, my dad was diabetic. I know a lot of people that are diabetic. They only test their sugar maybe 4 or 5 times a day, and traditionally, it's actually very painful. So there's, over the long haul, there's not really a great incentive to do it very often, or at least any more often than you need to. And but having whatever 24, whatever the if you think about it in terms of an image or just number of data points that you get, once every 5 minutes would equate to what, 12 an hour. 12 times 24 would be 288-ish. You definitely get a much better resolution and picture of what's going on in your body. And I think that, with the Fitbit and Apple Watch capturing your heart rate, I think that there's a whole bunch of data and correlations that we're going to discover. And I just find it interesting as a consumer, I guess, or an advocate for my own health, I guess. Oh, we all should be. That there's definitely this hesitance from the medical community to accept that. Now, I get that because, anyone, if you certainly look online, everyone is an expert. One week they're an expert in constitutional law, next week in international relations, next week in pandemics and epidemiology. I can understand the medical professionals I've encountered with that skepticism. But I think that more and more empowered people, regular people, are going to be empowered with their own health data. And I think that it'll be interesting to see how the medical profession adapts to that trend. I don't know. I can see it going either way. Certainly it's heavily regulated, so they have that going for them. I wonder how that'll work. But I just thought it was interesting. I'd share that story, just 2 anecdotal data points from working with my old doctor and a former colleague that worked in the same field had the same experience. So I think that's very interesting. I'd love to have him on the show just in general to talk about that and other things as well. But I think the future of a lot of industries are going to be data driven, and which played a lot of role in the name of the podcast selection that many years ago. I think it'll be 5 years in November that I coined the name and such. Wow, I can't believe it's been 5 years. It's been an interesting 5 years. It's been an interesting week. I started a new job this week at Coverse. Coverse is an awesome platform, and I hope to be able to talk more about them in the near future as I learn this. Hey, Joe. How's it going? Yeah, I wonder, let me know in the comments if you've had a similar kind of experience. I can totally see why medical professionals are very hesitant to kind of accept armchair experts, if you will. But I think that there's definitely a need or an interest for folks who collect this data. And Apple is the ultimate consumer product company. I have to wonder how much data they have across all their devices and their users, and what are they going to do with it? Is all of this ultimately going to? I think that the healthcare industry is ripe for disruption. I don't know what that would look like because healthcare is really complicated. It's really mired in politics and regulations. I don't know how that's going to play out. I think it's going to be an interesting space. I'm not in that space. I do scratch my chin kind of as an observer, be like, That would be an exciting in like the true sense of the word of exciting and terrifying at the same time to be in that space. But I think ultimately a lot of problems, once you collect enough data, do they become, is it a medical problem or does it become a data solvable problem? I don't know. I think that that's something that as a society we're gonna face and figure out one way or the other. So back to personal news. I started a new job this week. I also kicked off ImpactQuantum.com as its own independent blog related to the podcast. And I see that my car is ready. So I'm going to end this stream a little early. And I want to thank you, Joe and Jean, for joining live and commenting live. Let me know in the comments what you think about the future of healthcare and its merging with data. Thanks and have a great day.